I have an amazing interview today with Nova from Raw Earth Soul. Sadly, she lost her mother from breast cancer, and this led her on this path of discovery, which then when she had her first child, to heal him from the vaccinations, to actually start to look at herself, her body, to breast implants, getting those removed because of the toxicity. She's thriving on a raw vegan diet of predominantly fruits. So here's another good one for you. Hope you enjoy. Hello. So we have the gorgeous Nova. Nova, I'll let you introduce yourself.
So I'm Nova. That's my earthly name. I guess my Instagram name is Raw Earth Soul, and I am the back. I guess the light behind, let's call it the light behind the fruitful detox. So what I do what I'm passionate about, and that is to assist others in realizing their own self-healing abilities. I'm so grateful that you have me on here, beautiful.
I know. Thank you for coming on. And yeah, it's great to connect, finally to connect. And we've had some discussion before this call. We've got loads to share, and I've got lots to ask. What we'll do is we'll definitely have you on again, because I'll get those that want more, if they've got more questions, to give us the questions pre-interview, and then we will open that up. So, but today we want to know more about who you are, what you've been up to, your journey. So before starting really on this healing journey, where you was at.
Oh, well. So I'm actually 36 now, and I have two little boys. One's 9 and the other o's 5. I separated a couple of years ago. I had a massive awakening to my own self. But my journey on this side, I guess, of the fence, let's call it, started probably about 7 years ago, I'd say. I did get some good wake-up calls that weren't big enough for me earlier than that. And I've always been very open and always about questioning everything. So, that was, I guess, my innate, self coming through already. And my mum actually passed many years ago, and I assisted with her journey with cancer and the hospital side of things, because I was actually a scientist at that point in time. I was actually going through biomedical science at university. I finished that, and she was still, with the ongoing cancer. So I was very much scientific minded. I was heading towards becoming a doctor, and seeing her and assisting through her process of, treatments and all of that over the couple of years that, that she went through it. It was a big wake-up call in itself to see how people were treated.
Yeah.
It wasn't what I resonated with, even though I still believed that the medical industry was not to be questioned in its knowledge and all of that. I understood that for me, I couldn't be a part of it because of the depersonalization, I guess, of the lack of humanity, and that feeling of being a number is what I saw, as opposed to a soul. And so by seeing that was, I guess, my first, step.
Yeah.
However, it was actually when my first son was born, or when I became pregnant with my first son, that's when I actually started to question the medical establishment. So being scientifically minded, being an atheist, I was eating everything under the sun. I was, meat eater, the typical Mediterranean diet, very much only questioning politics and things like that. So I was very much into conspiracy theories, as we call them, and, all that. But I never questioned science. Science was God.
Yeah, wow.
For me, right? What a flip I made.
I know.
And so I started to question when when I was pregnant with my son, and I guess it's because I slowed down and I wanted the best for him. And so as a trained scientist who started to question things, I really looked into, well, what is best? You know, and that's when it really started. And I was the only one around me.
Yeah.
I was the only one that's how it felt at that point in time, where I questioned drugs and vaccines and all of that, you know, all of that side of things. And I really, you know, started sharing that with everyone because I wanted to help everyone, you know, as we do. I went down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And negative and, you know, like, oh, everything is messed up and all of that, you know.
They thought you was crazy.
I went crazy. I went absolute crazy, you know.
Yeah. And then, yeah, they probably thought you were crazy.
Oh, yeah. Before I even went crazy, yeah. That's where, you know, it started. And unfortunately, because I was the only one and I didn't know enough at that point in time, I knew that I didn't want my child to have shots. But everyone around me, including, you know, his father, was adamant. Okay. You know, if you don't take him, I will. And so, you know, not wanting to, but I didn't fully understand. I just did it, you know. I did it 3 times, actually. Late and, you know, very much in fighting mode against myself and others. But, you know, I did it. I felt like I was pushed into it always and told I was a bad mother and all of that came along with it. Yeah. Because I would still go to the doctors to take my son because he was my first son.
Yeah.
And I didn't even have my own mother or anyone to, you know, if you don't have that village, that community that can tell you, you know, oh, that's normal for your child, or that's, you know, you trust in whoever you can trust, you know.
Yeah.
And so every time he would have a shot, he would have a reaction.
Wow.
But it would be more insidious than immediate. It was, his body would be covered in rashes.
Yeah.
And that rash wouldn't go away. And I would go back and I'd say, why is he having rashes? My first child, I have no idea, you know. And they would say, I don't know. Here's a steroid cream.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Oh.
And it wouldn't go away. And I didn't like the whole steroid cream, so I didn't use it, thank goodness. But you know, it took me a little while to realize that that's what was causing it. Yeah. You know, and when it hit me, when I understood, I said, over my dead body.
Yeah.
And there was no more that anyone could ever say to me.
Yeah.
Because now I understood, right? And my job from then on was to fix in that guilt, that mother's guilt, that, you know, what did I allow? What have I done, you know? Oh my gosh, I need to fix this. And so I put all my time, effort, energy, and love towards learning detoxification. And that started 7 years ago. He's now 9.
Yeah.
And that's been my passion. I'm like, I just want to heal him. That was my, you know, my desire. Yeah. And then in the process over the last few years, I've had to heal myself.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you have any challenges? Did you have yourself?
Yeah. So I had breast implants in for 10 years, actually. And I got those out about 4 years ago, I think, probably 4 years ago now. What happened is I've had, you know, a pretty, I guess, normal childhood is what we see now, right? Normal diet, normal shops,
what's normal?
Normal toxicity overload, right, over the years. And I guess what tipped the jar, right, tipped the water, basically the last drop was, you know, the fact that I had these 2 ticking time bombs inside me. Yeah. And I obviously didn't know until I started researching detoxification. And when I did, I still had them inside me. But because I didn't feel like I had symptoms, I said, well, I know that as soon as something shows up, if there's something that happens within me, a symptom that's, like if I get sick is what I used to say. If I get sick one day, I know that's the first thing that has to go.
Yeah.
But, I'm not in a rush.
Yeah.
I was attacked.
Yeah.
And I was scared. I was actually in fear of going into surgery, and because that's the only surgery I'd ever had.
Yeah.
I never really went to doctors anymore either. So, I didn't want to go through that process, to put my life in their hands when I did not trust them.
Yeah.
So I avoided it. And so I had my second child. I breastfed both of them. I focused all my energy, love, and everything on them.
Yeah.
And, lost myself, I guess, in the process as well. And didn't realize until I hit a wall and I became like a balloon. I just completely inflamed all of a sudden.
Wow.
So always being quite fit and slim, always, my whole life. I was a gymnast for many years. I've always kept myself, in that quote unquote healthy.
Yeah.
And so to all of a sudden, and I was already vegan, by the way. I turned vegetarian, then I turned vegan.
How long ago was it?
Vegetarian, when I started researching detoxification.
Yeah.
Because literally when I began diving deep into detox, I came across all the greats.
Yeah.
And even all the, the Instagram greats, like, Fully Raw Christina and Raw Food Romance, obviously by Dr. Morse and Joe Cross with his, documentary, and so many of these, incredible people that were sharing at the time. And so I came across all of this information, and I tried to go all the way, but I couldn't. I couldn't go from where I was to,
to where they are. Yeah, like most of us. Yeah.
So for some, I know that for some they can do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, like Fully Raw Christina did that.
Oh yeah.
Because she was really unwell.
She was really sick. Yeah. I think our desperation is when it's really desperate.
That's where we go, right?
Yeah.
But if you're not, you're like, oh, that sounds amazing. But then you get dragged into the
comfortability, what's familiar, easy done. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you've already planted the seeds, so you can see it's just a natural progression, isn't it? It starts to just evolve your curiosity, and then how it makes you feel. You become more intuitive.
That's it. Yeah. And that's it. It starts changing everything, because you start changing the energetics of what you're eating, what you're consuming.
Yeah.
The first step, you remove the flesh.
Yeah.
And what comes along with the flesh, the animals. And once you remove just them, even just removing them is a massive change on all levels, not just physical, but on your consciousness as well, your awareness and your heart, And then from there, it's like, it's just that natural progression. If that's where you've seen, where you want to go.
You might get sidetracked sometimes, but your path is always leading. Yeah, it's never a clean road.
No, it's definitely not linear.
Totally not. I wish it was.
How was yours? Actually, I wanted to ask you. How was
we could be here all day. Mine was a lot of it binge eating, emotional eating, exhausted, bent out, just covering up, just wanted to disappear. I just used food. I was never massively overweight because I actually out-trained. Well, I thought I could out-train my diet. I'd go through periods of under eating, but I would excessively train, and that's how I kept fairly slim. But I was struggling. I was really struggling a lot mentally. But even physically, when I look back, IBS all the time. I had IBS when I was eating animal, the meats, dairy and eggs. And then once I cut that out, a lot shifted for me. The veganism shifted a lot, but then I did slip up into the mock meats.
Of course.
Yeah. And I'm glad for that process. And this is where I I share, you know, people like say, look at us and think where we are now. But it was never like that. You know, for 6 years, I was, or 8 years, high raw. No, you could class it was 6 years prior to going raw vegan. And I always said, I'm never going raw vegan. I'm never not doing it. I don't want to go raw vegan. Yeah. And it just, through cleansing, juice cleansing, more deeper into my meditation, it just I always say it just makes sense. I want simplicity. I want simplicity in my life. I want to embody a lifestyle that is simple, a life that is simple. So, you know, we're simple beings. We make it complex. We don't have to make it complex. And I just don't want that attachment addiction. So this is what I help others with the binge eating and
I love that.
Yeah, and wanting to feel good. You know, the byproduct is losing weight. You know, people come to me for weight loss. And come for me, maybe like where I was, I didn't want to be raw. That's totally fine. But I just know over time, they stick with it. They will. It's inevitable. Or at least there'll be 80%. You know, raw till I was in raw till dinner. That's what was working.
Yeah, raw till 4. Yeah,
raw till 4 for a long time. And it was. I would say it was working for me. It was part of the transition because now that's the way I feel is like, no, really, it wasn't working for me, but it was great for that length of time, and it helped me. And I don't want to get too dogmatic because I'm very quick at knowing, okay, this doesn't have to be overnight. You know, I've learned that instant because we're in a society of instant gratification.
Yes.
You know, we want things right now. We want to be there right now. We want to be healed right now. Even me going through periods like with my tooth, I've had free wisdom teeth from what was swelling. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you know, I just wanted to heal. I just want to get on with it and just get on with my life. But I know this is just part of the process. Slow down and just enjoy it as much as I can, even though we have challenges through detox. But I just look at how many more up days you have compared to what you used to have. I used to say, oh, if I'm having a few struggles, I'm like, but nothing, especially with mental health. Physical, you're coming more, you really, it's all part of it, but you come from more of the food. I mean, the food is key. And I feel for me, if it wasn't for, you know, raw, undenatured foods, then I would feel heavy and just numbed and just going through life like a zombie. Like I just didn't, just coasting. And I knew there's more inside me. And when I eat well, I'm like, I've got this fire, this drive.
Yeah.
So it's all interlinked, you know, with everything. So it's important. But I know that addictions, it's part of it all with the food.
It is.
It's a big one. It's to be honest, it's foundation, isn't it? Yeah.
Massive. That's the emotional body. That's you know, it's the energetics of it. And you know, for some it's even deeper, like more deeper ingrained, like it's more of an issue, I guess, you know, that emotional attachment. And food is a drug.
Yeah.
The way we have designed society, food is a drug. And we're all addicts.
Yeah.
Some more than others. That's all it is. No matter if you're skinny, fit, you know?
It doesn't, yeah. And you can see from the anticipation when you start. I notice when I can smell some, you know, at times it's cooked food. I don't always get that disgusting taste, but sometimes I get that, that is, and all my senses are triggered. Yeah. And I'm like, and you're getting this worked up feeling, and you can, and when you really check in with yourself, you're like, wow, how powerful those drugs are. You're getting excited, and then when you actually have it, you're like, oh, and I just know it's a drug. It's numbing me, and it feels good at that moment.
Just in the moment, it might feel okay, and as soon as you know it's past, that's a different story.
Yeah,
and I'm not, you know, I'm not saying, you know, demonize it.
No.
Don't demonize anything, right? But we need to understand it as it is. I mean, and if we can be fully raw with this, pun intended, you know, it's like, well, do you tell, you know, an alcohol addict or a medication addict or, you know, a recreational drug addict that it's okay to, you know, to have a little bit here and there.
In balance. Have a balance.
It's in balance. You can have some cocaine on the side.
Yeah.
You know, and shoot up some heroin here and there. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it? But it's because we don't associate the numbing foods with the numbing drugs or we just don't know that. It's completely, we only as a society or collectively think or believe that someone who has a food problem, a food addiction, or a bulimia, or whatever the case may be with food, that relationship to food, we only think that it is when it's a lack, like a severe lack of calories, or an overload of constantly seeking calories, and there's that. But even the balanced person is addicted. We are addicted. Because if we crave it, if we were truly hungry and we were offered apples or watermelons and peaches and or maybe carrots, salad, or whatever the case may be, right? Well, that person, most people will say, no, that's not what I want. We want what smells good, what's been put in sauces and cooked in
numbers, all the chemicals. That's what we're addicted to.
Even just the salt, the oil, the sugar, the mixture of everything, and the cooked, the feeling of heaviness, the density, where we are addicted to numbing. So
overstimulating and so toxic. And I know you said you don't want to demonize it, but it's the truth. This is what it's doing to our body. And when you realize and start to clean out, and it's not until you do have like a juice cleanse, and you do the juice cleansing as well, don't you coach? And that's when you start to realize, okay, I can see it. You can see it clearly. And then but you see others that are just excusing it and saying, oh, you're saying cooked food is so bad. I'm like, well, yeah, because it's keeping you trapped where you are and not. They're using a lot of excuses, like with the coffee and that addiction. It's like I see some really great friends who they love it so much and they just can't let it go, and they're just trying to find all the benefits why it is so good. And I'm like, there's going to be positives to, or any sort of benefits to anything when you start looking at anything. But let's have a look at. I bring it back to basics. Like, what is it really? What's it doing? If it's overstimulating and keeping you like wanting your fix every day, that's attachment.
That's it. Anything that puts you in that position is obviously there's something there.
But it takes time. It takes time to adjust and to go through that. We're not here to, some people do feel like this. It's you're becoming dogmatic about it, but it's just part of the process, and tweaking things, taking things out. But when you start to realize and find out and experiment yourself, and that's where you, like I say with clients, it's like I meet them where they're at. We'll start eliminating. How do you? So with your coaching then? So you're at the moment you've just done a masterclass. Yes, was it yesterday?
Yeah. This morning, actually, I did
I thought it was this morning. Yeah. Can you share a bit more about this mastermind and what the coaching that you're doing?
Yeah, so usually, up until now, I've been doing a lot of one-on-one work, and what I do usually is, an in-depth health questionnaire, and then we go through a session together where, we'll talk about things, and then I write up a protocol for them to actually go on and go through their detoxification process, right? And that takes months. People don't like to hear that, but I always say that's a few months minimum, and depending how deep you want to go and how deep you do go, if you take it up, what levels you take it up in detox. Everyone has their individuality in terms of their state of health and their elimination organs and all of that. So so what I realized with that, and I've had I have a couple of containers. I've had one group that I did 8 weeks together, and I thought, this is how it has to be. You have to have that ongoing support through deep detoxification. So the Ignition Masterclass this morning was kind of like 101. the 101 on healing yourselves, understanding that you are a divine sovereign being that is actually a self-healing vessel. And all we have to do is literally get out of our own way.
Yeah.
Right? You don't need anyone or anything external. We have this mind that's been indoctrinated for so long. We have these layers and layers of total BS that we've accumulated, and we have, that's our reality. Yeah. That's how we live our life. That's how we speak. That's how we understand health and so on, and sickness. And so we seek external. But what I bring everyone back to is understanding that if you just understand simple concepts and shift your perspective, that you just have to get out of the way and allow the body to do its own thing.
Yeah.
Support it in certain ways, and that's all you need to do. It will heal itself.
What are you eating at the moment? What's your daily regime of what you eat? Because you're very simple as well. It's very simple, isn't it?
For me, it's very simple, yes. And probably because I'm also busy, because I do love raw gourmet stuff, and I've got this beautiful dehydrator, and I've got, all of that stuff. I haven't used it in a while.
Yeah.
I literally eat, I drink a lot of, juices.
Yeah.
Mainly I live on juices, to be honest. And depending on what fruits I can find, I'll eat them. But most of the times I'm actually juicing because it's just easier and I actually feel better.
Yeah.
But I have quite a few, I have a lot.
And you make your own juices? Do you make your own?
Mostly. But if I don't have time, there's places that make like 2-liter bottles of OJ fresh.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. They have like this machine that cuts the orange and juices it, as you press the button, and you're like, ooh.
It's so fast as well. Amazing.
Yeah.
What part of Australia are you in? No,
I'm on the Gold Coast.
Gold Coast, yeah. Oh, amazing, yeah. So fresh, yeah, you have a lot of fresh fruit there, don't you? Some good quality.
I mean, now it's winter, so, it's not as exciting.
Yeah.
I know in Thailand you have like a lot more to play with.
Yeah.
But right now, obviously, not even the watermelons are in season, but I'm so obsessed with watermelon juice that I get what I can. So
yeah. And you don't count calories either?
No, I don't actually even know how to count calories, to be honest, because I never put myself to it. Even when I ate, when I was, the whole calories in, calories out, I never really did it. I just ate, and then I would exercise.
Yeah.
I do an exercise, but I never really counted even back then. So and now I definitely don't, because
that's good. You don't need to. We don't need to. We don't want to live like that, do we?
No,
I really don't enjoy.
Freeing. How freeing, right?
It's liberating, totally liberating. No concerns. And we're slim. We're showing people that we eat when we want to eat, and we eat the foods that are for us. Sugar. Yeah. Yeah. We get that quite a lot. So do you even look at your macros or anything like that? Are you just, I'm the same.
No. Yeah. No,
I do know it's more carbs, isn't it? Because when you're having fruit, you're having more carbohydrates, and that is the key, because that's sugar. It's fueling our cells. So
it's the fastest fuel.
Yeah.
Fructose and glucose is the fastest fuel. That is our fuel.
Yeah.
That's what we thrive on. Anything else is more complex, and we have to break it down first in order to use it. So it's not as ideal.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the best rocket fuel? Yeah. But I still, I eat salads. I'm 99% raw. That's, I like to say that, because we talk about transparency, and it's important to be transparent always, right? I've had periods of, long periods of just juicing, of just fruit, of, fruits and salads, fasting, all of that side of things. And in the last few months, it's 99% raw. So, there's the occasional like bits and pieces like nuts or things like that may be cooked, and, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So, and when I have tried certain cooked veg, I've felt it immediately.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I've liked
It's not a bad
to do
thing.
it
It's not a bad
because
thing to do because it reinforces it, doesn't it? It reinforces that.
exactly.
Yeah.
It reinforces where you're going. And I say that to my clients as well, because, you know, we all have hiccups on our journey.
Yeah.
Most of us have hiccups and sidetracks and, you know, start again and this and that, right?
Yeah.
And I call them side steps.
Yeah.
The hiccups are blessings, because if you are aware and you're more in tune with your body and what's going on, you will feel everything and you will know. And not just on the physical, how it feels, but why did I do that? You know, which is your spirituality. Yeah, the behavioral, the emotional side, the attachment, the before and after of.
It's empowering, isn't it? I'm learning a lot from what we're consuming and how it's making us feel. It also overlaps into all areas of our life, and you find that all area of life start to thrive. So it just has a knock-on effect. It's like a win-win when you're helping yourself, you're helping others, you're helping the animals, the environment, and you just wanting to be a better human, just wanting to put have an impact in the world that is good, that is compassionate. It's a way of. I love your business name. It's so earth is everything that you embody, and what I want to always. I've always looked for this tribe, like those like-minded thinkers who the wanting to have a better world, and like you've got children, so you want them to have a better world. Are they high raw? Are they with you most of the time, or with the dad?
They're 50-50 now, unfortunately, since I separated. So the little one had never seen a doctor, had been vegan since birth. He was actually fruitarian. He was just on breast milk and fruit for the first year, and I will tell you how amazing that was.
Yeah.
That was absolutely incredible. His poo would smell sweet.
Wow, yeah.
I'm not kidding. It was like, I actually would tell my friends, I'm like, this is how we're supposed to smell.
Yeah.
Wow. You know? I was like, whoa. Yeah. Because it was night and day. As soon as I gave him cooked food, and it was cooked vegan food, but it was cooked food, night and day. The smell was atrocious.
Yeah, wow.
In comparison, you know, it's very different.
That with us, don't we? I feel I don't smell anymore.
No.
Even my I know my when we do it doesn't have that stench like it's
no. Exactly, because that smell is protein mainly.
Yeah.
And protein can be from, plant sources as well. It's putrefaction.
Yeah.
So with fruit, we have the issue would be fermentation, and it's a different process, and it's, different byproduct, different smell.
Process, yeah. And so that they're pretty much, they're vegan with a lot of raw foods as well when they come with you.
With me, they are, and unfortunately, on the other side, they eat everything.
Oh, okay. Gosh, that's frustrating.
So I live in a constant detox house of just because, when they come here and eat this food, their body just goes,
yeah. Wow.
And then they go back, and then they come here and they go,
You can only do so much and guide them as best as you can. You've learned to just do what you can be, just the inspiration for them, and see. Still so young, aren't they?
That they are very small, so I talk to them about things, and they're very wise souls. They know in terms of healing, for example, and just the morality, the ethics side. I talk about that. I don't want to push it too much, because they're so little, and they get it on the other side a lot, and they get a different view. So, I'm careful with that. I don't want to emotionally, cause any havoc there. But I do, put it in here and there, and I say, well, that's why I choose, I get you guys sometimes the vegan chicken and things like that. I'm like, well, because, I understand that it tastes amazing,
Yeah.
But we don't, that was a chicken.
Yeah.
If you're eating it at wherever, outside, but I don't, because they call it chicken. I say, no, well, it's not chicken. It's made from plants, because even though it tastes the same and it looks the same and it smells the same, I didn't want to get anything for you guys that, had, been killed in that way, because I don't like that. I know you guys don't like it either, so there's these little conversations that we have. But
out of their learning.
That's all we can do. All we can do is shine our own light and have them understand. They know that when they don't feel well, they say, I need fruits and herbs. Mum, can I have fruits and herbs?
Yeah, amazing. And I bet they love your juices, don't they? They drink a lot of juices. Yeah.
They'll drink anything I give them.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah. Yeah.
Which works really well for me. I'm like, I make it into a game for them. It's like, oh, let's Hulk smash it, because they're boys. And so it's like, all right, what does this do? It makes you strong and big. And
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what? Do you remember Popeye? I think most people should know Popeye, but get the spinach down here, we can do more characters. That's awesome
we should
show them because I know my brother, I actually did eat, although I've come from a family that ate processed junk food all the time. It was deep fried chips every night. We'd have sweet and sour chicken. That was our common meal. Sunday roast, kebabs on a Friday. Oh no, fish and chips on a Friday, Saturday kebabs. And I did have Sunday roasts, and I would love my vegetables, but my brother would never eat them. My mum was always trying to get him to eat more. Even on all our meals, we'd have some veg, and then we'd have fruit after a really heavy, you look back now, fruit after a heavy, dense.
That was the usual.
And then, but I didn't eat it. My brother used to despise fruit and vegetables. And then, to be honest, I went through a period of just really not enjoying. I went for a long period in my teens, right up until late 20s, not enjoying vegetables or fruit, because the only fruits we had, or I thought I had access to, was just bananas and apples and oranges.
The boring ones. Oh, me too.
It was boring now. I actually love oranges. I love OJ juice. I love it.
Orange. Yeah.
So, and even apples, like when I was eating with the lemon ginger blast, like I don't tend to eat mono meals of apples. I do apples. I just find I have more blended with my lemon ginger blast juice. I love that. But yeah, you start to see fruits. Like I say to people, like, fruits is not a snack, it's a meal. Like, if we can shift that, like you say, it's all about just shifting
it's in the schooling. Sister, it's in the schooling. So my kids, I never wanted them to go to school, by the way, but that's how it works now. So they came, the eldest came home, I remember last year, and he said, what's for lunch? And I said, we're going to have acai, a smoothie bowl, a fruit bowl.
Yeah.
A smoothie bowl, like an ice cream with toppings and stuff.
Oh, amazing.
And he was like, fruit's not food, fruit's a snack.
Oh.
And I was like, who told you that?
Yeah. Well, they're still doing it.
At school. And I'm like, nah, not in this house. Not in this house.
Yeah. Just give them loads of mangoes. There you go. There's your lunch. Take all those mangoes with you.
It starts. What I'm saying is that it starts, from a young age, and we're bombarded with those layers of indoctrination.
Have you had any detox symptoms? So when you've been in this journey of detoxification for you yourself, what have you experienced?
When I got really unwell, when I realized I was really unwell, I was so inflamed and I was so in pain. I felt like a 90-year-old lady. So I had like fibromyalgia type symptoms, Raynaud's, like arthritis type symptoms.
Yeah.
So, I would stand up in the mornings and I would feel like I had little crystals between the bones of my feet. Like I couldn't walk properly for a while.
Oh, wow.
And so I felt like I realized I'd lost strength in my arms. I couldn't hang off a bar, and I was a gymnast. Wow. Like all of these things had like insidiously, you know, over time become worse and worse. And it hit that point where I became inflamed, and no matter what I did, I couldn't get rid of it, because I always used to be able to balance my weight, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's when I got rid of the implants, and I started to really focus on my own detox. So because at that point in time, this was what, 4 years ago, I knew a lot of things, but I didn't also know or have the experience or the, you know, the mentorship or the help from anyone apart from what I had researched, right? So I tried to fast, you know, here and there, and I would just bounce back to food, cooked food. So I couldn't get myself on, you know, on a solid detox path.
Yeah.
And, you know, then it hit me, and I did, I stopped and I said, okay, that's enough. That's enough, Nova. You really need to just seriously just fast. And I did 40 days. And
of juice, was that juices? 40 days
juices, on juices. And it was actually mainly just orange juice and watermelon juice, because it was just the easiest thing, and you know, the most, what you got most out of. Yeah. You know, you get a big watermelon, you have like 3-4 liters of juice.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no brainer there. It tastes amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
So I did that, and all I did was the sauna, because I had the sauna in my building at the time. I was still married at that point. And so I would cook meals for the family and so on, and I would just have my juice. I was determined. And the first few days are always the hardest, as we know. But I was so determined that the first few days were like a breeze, and, you know, inflammation started to leave my body, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. You know, this is so awesome. It feels great. And then I hit day 9. It was day 9, and I was in a lot of pain. I had this like obstruction. I knew I had an obstruction in my gut, in my intestinal tract, because I was in a fetal position in pain. And, you know, I had this pressure in my head, like this headache. And I had my kids around me. And I knew that I had to get rid of it, you know, with an enema, but I just didn't do it. I don't know why I didn't do it. And so I just suffered for a few hours. I decided, okay, no, I need to do this. And I went to the bathroom and I did 1 enema, nothing yet. I got into the second one and released some mucoid, and the relief was instant.
Yeah.
You know, it was.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And a lot of your symptoms, if you've got headaches, and this was an enema that you did yourself.
Yeah, I just did it myself in the bathroom.
You release. It's great for those that are struggling really on deep, you know, really serious detox symptoms. Yeah, and headaches, it can really relieve headaches, can't it?
Oh, I say it all the time. I mean, we don't associate it.
Yeah.
You know, and so you're like, oh, I've got a headache. Oh, what do I do?
Yeah.
And the last thing most people think of is go to the toilet.
I know, yeah, release.
Right.
I bet you felt amazing when you released that mucoid plaque. Did you get like that fuzzy feeling as well? Because and sometimes I did. I got that like shaky, like a flu like cold, flu-like symptoms, and then you release, and it's like elevated, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, and that's a common one with my clients as well. I've realised, you know, they hit that wall of the shakes and the cold. I can't get warm. You know, I'm really unwell. And I'm like, enemas, just go. Go and do that. And, or assist if it's not enemas, just try and go to the toilet with herbs and lemons, lemon juice, lemon water, you know. Yeah. More liquid, just try breath work, whatever, you know, there's all these different things that you do to support the elimination. That's all that needs to happen. Yeah. As soon as it's out, you know, as you said, it's like, oh,
relief.
And that's how it felt. And the biggest thing with that wall, that obstruction, that obstacle, right, that was the biggest one of my detox. And
Wow.
I know I didn't use any herbs at that stage. I didn't have herbs with me. So, I did my 40-day juice fast just on juices. I didn't
Yeah.
use anything else to assist. I only did maybe 4 or 5 enemas in the whole 40 days.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
2 of them were on that day,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, yeah, I should have, looking back, knowing what I know now, I would have assisted my body
Okay.
with
Yeah.
so much more. And I probably wouldn't have had, maybe I would have, but I don't think I would have had that pain.
Yeah.
Because, with certain things that we know now to assist,
Yeah.
with
Help.
elimination, you don't have to go through that for that long either.
Yeah.
If that
You
comes up, you let
you
it
have
out.
the hair protocols, don't you? So you actually encourage, because there's something I don't know an awful lot about, but with the herbs, they do help, don't they, with the assisting of
Yeah,
any of this
absolutely.
if you're going through some intense detox symptoms.
Just to assist like the elimination organs, because as we know, detox is just about elimination, right? We're just
Yeah.
eliminating junk in the trunk, junk in junk everywhere,
Yeah.
surrounding the cells. And then the body heals itself. So if we can support those elimination organs, and herbs have this beautiful consciousness to them, the botanical kingdom is divine, just like the fruit kingdom, just, the consciousness of these foods, because they're foods.
Yeah, the real food.
Is what is actually assisting, I guess, energetically. I love the herbs. They're honestly a game changer.
Do you take them
Massive.
now in your day-to-day juices or anything like that?
When I have them, I do. I don't always have them, but when I do, or when I choose to go a bit deeper into my own, cleaning out, because we all have work to do, and I'm definitely not shy of my job. I know my lifestyle has piled on quite a bit. So we go deeper and deeper occasionally. And when I do, I do the herbs, because it's massively different,
Which herbs are you enjoying?
So usually the ones that I do love for myself, kidney type herbs, so nettle seed, nettle leaf, adrenals, because I have chronic adrenals as well, or had, they're better now, but they're still, weak. So licorice root and those kind of just also to let everyone know, I'm not a master herbalist. I go through the herbal protocols and herbal formulas that are already out there.
Yeah.
And that knowledge I'm interested in, I study it, but I'm not a master herbalist. So.
Yeah. Well, you will be. You continue this path, you will, because you're not seeing the results from the herbs, you're seeing how they do assist. Yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love them,
Yeah.
So I say incorporate them as much as you can, and don't fear them.
It's something I want to do. I want to incorporate now. I want to try, just to see if I notice any difference. How did you, just to move back a little bit, how did you know that you felt with your adrenals? What are you seeing where your adrenals are still not working as efficient? What's the symptoms from?
Symptoms wise, well, low blood pressure is usually an indication of low adrenal function, low kidney function. That's the top and bottom, systolic, diastolic. Fatigue is usually another one. Bowel movements that are slow, like that chronic type constipation. There's so many symptoms actually that are associated with weak adrenals or low functioning adrenals. And most of us, if not the entire society, has a level of low functioning adrenals and kidneys and a lot of other organs as well, to a certain degree. Some people it's more of one or the other, but as a society we have that's the pandemic. That's the real, unfortunate thing, that once we jump onto this lifestyle, once we start cleaning out, at first we might realize we hit dips. Those are the dips we hit because we're no longer on stimulants, right? Everyone's on stimulants, and meat is a stimulant. So a lot of the people, I know we were chatting about this, a lot of the people that go through detox or cleansing or go to a vegan diet or go to a healthy, clean diet, remove stimulants, right, it reveals the natural state, like the state of health or unhealth of certain organs and systems, right, within the body. So all of a sudden, you know, you were before constantly stimulating your adrenals with caffeine, with meat, with, you know, those things, right?
Yeah.
And you remove all of that, and then you're like, oh, I feel like crap. You know, I feel so low in energy. Why do I feel like this? Well, it's not because of what you're eating now in your diet. Or it could be, it depends what you're eating. But if you're eating high vibrational foods of the earth, right, the reason why you're feeling that is because you have, you know, stimulated you've stimulated and suppressed.
Yeah.
In the end, you've asphyxiated, you know, you suffocated certain organs over time, and you didn't realize that because you were hooked on those stimulants constantly.
Yeah. It's called adaptation, isn't it? They're adapted to that way of eating, and it's constant. It's like that coffee. They actually now have to rely on that adrenaline, not natural adrenaline anymore. It's the external fake adrenaline, and that's what's happening. Yeah, it doesn't show you your weaknesses until you start reducing, taking away those, and eating undenatured foods. And then they blame the plants, the whole foods.
They go back. They're like,
and they go back, and then it relieves all the symptoms have gone temporarily.
They're like, oh, I needed the meat.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you needed the stimulation or the stimulant because your adrenals are so messed up, unfortunately. Not that you can't fix it, but it takes time.
Not on that diet, you can't.
And you're not going to fix it on more stimulants.
Yeah.
That's like, you know, when you tell a junkie, sorry, I'm being very raw today.
Yeah.
I don't usually take it this far, but, you know, this is reality check. It's like...
And it's serious. It's serious because it's
our health.
Yeah.
You know?
It just affects us. It affects everyone, our family, and then, you know, it has a consequence all down, you know, everywhere. So it's like, this is how appreciative how your body is. You know, when we get sick, and people don't realize until it's too late, or when, you know, like we said, they usually come to raw vegan when they're desperate. High majority of people, like I'm promoting all these the lifestyle of how it's fun and how you can lose weight, but majority of my clients are sick. They've come out of desperation, not out of inspiration. Whereas I'm promoting more of the inspiration, because you could argue that I was desperate because my mental health was suffering. The binge eating, the addiction, just that really low time, too many low periods. But I did have my IBS were coming back at times, especially in the increase of fats, you know, the mock meats that was increasing. The inflammation was, and I was blowing up. So I did, but I was more inspired. But it's a very small minority. But we want to encourage more to, like, not let it get to that point, and let's do something about it now, because even if you are showing signs, it's only going, you know, it's going to get worse. Let's look at even just incorporating more whole undenatured foods. Get rid of the animal, like we were saying, just get rid of the animal products, get rid of the oils, the cooked oils, then the starches, you know, start to gradually take
That's right.
See the difference. You're going to go through some transition with the change in the gut. You know, that's going to take some time. It depends on how much you've been eating that, you know, eating the junk and the cooked, you know, starches. You know, for years I thought it was it was working for me, but the starches over time, they leave you in. It's not until you take them out and you start trying this lifestyle, you see the weaknesses, you see. And I'm still now going through those, like noticing, okay, this is from damage before, and I need to take a step back and actually listen to my body, what it needs, and just allow it to maybe assist. That's why I'm interested in the herbs now. Do you know, I'm interested in learning about, because I was never really, I went more focused on the diet and getting that. And I think that's the start for everyone. If you start eliminating.
That's number one.
It's number one. Yeah.
Number one.
Yeah. And then you start having a look at other ways of how you can help along this process and experiment and try, and everyone has their own journey of what they want to they learn about certain herbs, supplements. I mean, I'm not really big on supplements, but I do know these. Do you take any supplements like iodine, B12? No, nothing. No, neither do I. Yeah.
I actually, I advise against it. If you know, if I'm asked, no.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Only botanicals, because they are, and obviously in whichever form you can find them. There's the concentrated forms, that, in alcohol or tinctures, obviously, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But if you have them growing in your beautiful garden,
or
if you can, then that is the best way to have your herbs, just like the best way to eat your fruit. And, and that consciousness and that energetic, exchange is, that's what it is, that's what it's all about. It's trying to get it.
And why don't you, I mean, if you can share, why don't you promote supplements?
Because I don't believe that we need them, and I'm always open, to learning and to seeing what happens and so on. A lot of the time, the thinking of supplements for most people is that because they have a deficiency in, say, magnesium, which most people have quote unquote a deficiency, right? Then we will supplement with a man-made isolate magnesium, overload the body with this man-made isolate magnesium compound, and when we test again, guess what? Your magnesium levels are high temporarily, right? So it's a treatment-based thinking in the same way that a drug is, and we are playing God, and we're throwing the divine balance of chemistry, which we do not understand. Nobody understands. What happens when you put in a massive amount of some, chemically made, some altered and isolated chemistry into the body, like magnesium? You're going to start pulling from other areas. Your body is going to start buffering and moving things because it's always trying to find balance. That is not natural.
Yeah.
And it's not fixing anything either.
Yeah.
Because you get those
I'm just going to say it's a band-aid, isn't it? Yeah.
You get while you're taking it, you might feel slightly better, and we can argue that too, probably. But long term, what is it doing in the background? It's pulling at calcium, it's pulling at phosphorus. It's, you end up with osteoporosis and crap like that. Like, there's so many things that they don't look at. What is it actually doing in the background long term? Yeah. And has it fixed anything? No, because as soon as you come off it, you're worse off than before. Yeah. Because, why are you
masking? Yeah.
Go back to the root of it, and why are you deficient in the first place? Well, there's something that's not working properly. Why isn't it working properly? Yeah. Well, fix absorption. Fix your diet. Fix absorption. You're obviously not assimilating. Why aren't you assimilating? What's impeding the flow? What's impeding the uptake? What's impeding the absorption? Remove obstruction of every kind on every level, and things will flow. Yeah. Right? The body heals itself, and that's what I love to say.
Back to simplicity. So I love what you share. It's just back to basics. Stop complicating it. Yeah.
It's not this is ego. This is mind. This is knowledge. This is human trying to control and trying to understand and trying to fix and trying to see and go deeper into something that we probably, and I don't think we can understand in this human form. Our divine self, our higher self, our super conscious, our spark of the divine will understand everything, right? It's part of the one. However, this experience right here in this form has a very limited capacity to understand the vastness of what is going on, right? We can only try, and the deeper that knowledge, that pursuit of knowledge, and going into the nitty gritty of things and trying to dissect and
detail. I find the reason why we do that behaviorally is because we have been conditioned. If the information out there is confusing, people will automatically get overworked, overstressed, and just go back to what they was originally doing. You confuse people. It's go back to the familiar, go back to what you were doing. So it's part of the plan. It's a part of the agenda. If we keep it complicated and confused, oh, someone says this, someone says that. No, that's why I just say, if we just go back, like, how can we argue these natural foods are going to be bad for us? How? With Mother Earth, our nature provided all this for us, so why go to secondary sources like animals, create their suffering, take on their energy and whatever comes, all the other things that comes with that? Go back to just the basics. Go back. That for me is just makes sense. So if we get too detailed, what am I missing on this? And my clients, when they come to me, they're saying, I'm frightened about if I'm going to get deficient in this. I'm like, you're deficient in it all now. You ain't going to get more deficient. Take it out. And then it does, and I see great results. I see their energy. I have a client, amazing, just within a month, taking dairy out of the diet, the inflammation, swelling on her ankles. I just took it really slow with her. Let's just look at your diet. I just said, just dairy. I mean, she was eating anything and everything, but stopped smoking. She stopped smoking for a year, which is amazing, but took dairy out. What, in 30 days, the feeling she's got, and I said, let's do something next. And I said, the next was oils, because alongside, depends on where they're at. We go through periods. Some can just take all meat, dairy, and eggs out. Go vegan, pretty much. They'll binge on all the content I send. But and then see the actual ethical side to it as well. And then that really cements a lot for others. They start to see these as sentient beings, and then they become more connected to the heart. And then they start looking at self-love, and we look at the self-love practice, because this is a form of self-love if we're choosing foods. And I'm going off on one, which I usually do. But it's so passionate.
It's so important.
It is. It's really
massive.
Is.
I love that work that you do.
It's back needed. To that. Yeah, it's back to that. Coming back to our hearts, isn't it? And this is what we're sharing about the divine feminine. So the ladies that are listening on here, we're both about stepping back into our power. This is empowerment. This is about getting back to who you really are, back to who this divine goddess, whatever you want to call it. I love Eileen. She says we're queens, kings and queens. I love goddess, this expression, this divine expression of ours. We start to tap into more. And this is where we're going to touch on the Rawlicious side. Why I've branded the Rawlicious, because it's free and it's liberating. It's sensual. It gets back into that femininity, feeling sexual and sexy again, not for anyone else, but for yourself. And that's when you start to choose, because when you start feeling good, it's like the cycle of you eat well, your self-love steps up, and then it's the vice versa, self-love, you'll automatically start eating well. So it just all interlines, and you start to really embody this life and lifestyle. And why I've now gone fully raw, because I've tapped into the Rawlicious side. It's like, I want to feel good. I want to feel like my best self. It gives me such a fire in me, a drive. And I'd love to know when you hear Rawlicious, because we've got a calendar coming out of all raw vegan girls. Actually launches in October. I can't wait. It's going to be amazing. So many, all of it, gorgeous girls on there sharing this lifestyle. And I'd like to know what you think, what is Rawlicious to you, because we all have a perception of what Rawlicious is. What would be Rawlicious to you?
It is definitely the evocation of the divine feminine in its pure, needed right now natural state, and it's just it evokes that freedom and that vibrancy, and that just expression of feminine energy in its raw natural state, just like it says. It's delicious, it's divine, it's beautiful, it's flowing, it's and then you can go into it's flowing is is the alkalinity, it's that hydration, it's flowing, that's what it is, that's what that word evokes. That is, to me, that's what it means. It's beautiful. It's totally you too, you know.
crazy girl. It's not just raw foods, it's an embodiment of so much more, and it all overlaps into all our areas of our lives, our relationships, you know, we are to ourselves, to others, you know, to the planet. It's a win-win for everybody, because not only do we feel good, feel healthy, we plant those seeds to everyone else, and we also everything's energy. They're getting our energy, and we are nicer to more people. Do you feel like, back to the benefits? I wanted to ask you what benefits you got. It's like, I'm much more nicer and calmer. I'm not, because
oh my God.
I went through we go through that, like, say when you start to wake up and you want to share, like, especially veganism, when you start to see the cruelty, you know, in that, and I was out there. I think we all will go through that period. Crazy. I was really angry, and I do still, but I do alchemize it a lot more in a more constructive, channel it in a much loving way. And I believe that's the foods, because when foods are lighter and are just more nurturing and loving, and you're not taking on that adrenaline from the animals, and they're cooked and denatured, you're not getting those live enzymes. If you look at just the vessel of our body, everything's about, you know, energy. You start to amplify these senses. For my spiritual practice is really increased. I feel everything's just really heightened. And I'm going off on one.
But that's what it is. It's exactly what you said.
Yeah.
I did the same thing from you know, going through the deep dark hole of the vortex of anger and frustration, and you know, trying to get everyone to, you know, to listen and understand, and then realizing that, you know, it doesn't just, you know, you can reach people like that, but it's very detrimental to our own health, and well-being, and our own and the people around us. And once you realize that, you channel, as you say, you know, you channel it towards, well, be the light.
Yeah. The example.
You know, be the light. And, you know, that is not just amazing for everyone, because everyone comes to you automatically that is aligned.
Yes.
But, you know, your growth and evolution and your happiness, your joy, your, you know,
sweeter. It's sweeter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everyone benefits then, doesn't it?
That's it. Yeah.
So where can everyone find you, Nova? Where you at? Where you hanging out?
Well, mainly I'm on Instagram, because I can at the moment I have different platforms, but I focus more of my energy on that, because that's where I've been. I'm more well versed, because I'm a bit of a tech dino still, so I have trouble with like branching out into the new stuff.
But Insta, you're vibing on Insta. It's amazing. I need to get some tips from you. You're amazing on Insta. I love what you share. It's so empowering, and always it's glowing, it's vibrant, it's you. It's incredible. You've got a really good tribe there, haven't you? So I can see why you're putting your energy into that.
Yeah, I'll learn from you for the other platforms as well.
Yeah, well, I'm still learning, but yeah. But I'll put all your information. It'll come up here as well, and in the description box as well, if anyone's got any questions. I say, well, you must come on again, because I want to ask more, and obviously we'll get a lot of our audience to ask you questions. So if you do want any questions, then hop over to Nova's Instagram, or we'll get back on the channel anyways, and we'll ask some more questions.
Yes, so, I want to chat to you again, sister. Let's keep going.
Exciting. And now we're going to be focusing on the calendar as well, so that'll be coming out, say, 1st of October. So what we'll do, as this is an ending, Nova's going to be my first beautiful soul who's going to do my ending of be, feel, and stay Rawlicious. So what I do, I'm going to get everyone to do it, because I'm just going to keep this in. So we go be, feel, and stay Rawlicious.
Ooh.
Do you want to do that with me? Here we go. So ready? 1, 2, 3. Be, feel, and stay Rawlicious. Thank you so much, Nova. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.